Well, the only other team that could still go down are Leicester, and they lost at home again to Bristol on Saturday.
They were Papa Nui. From what I saw on the highlights, I didn't watch
Who
all the
was
game.
Papa Nui?
Leicester.
Yep, correct.
I've kind of worked something out in my head a little bit through the guidance of a mate of mine.
This is exciting.
Name the mate.
Larry.
Larry?
Yeah.
Harry?
Larry.
Harry Ellis.
So Larry, yeah, and he made a very, very valid point. So you look at Leicester, everyone talks about the recruitment. Look at the recruitment of the coaches that they've brought in. So they've had Major, who's a ball playing back. They've had Matty O'Connor. Was he a back? He looked like a prop, but is he? Yeah, so he's a back. Obviously, Jordan Murphy. Now they've brought in Mike Ford, and now they've brought in Pat Howard. Where is the forward-orientated influence in that group? Hell of a point. When you actually look at it, and you think of Leicester of old, which everyone keeps talking about, where are Leicester lacking? They're lacking up front. That's like, we know that. You look at their back line, they've got a back line that can compete with anyone on any given day. Unfortunately, you look at the Leicester forwards, they haven't. They're rubbish, if we're speaking frankly. And I think a lot of that is to do with the players that they've brought in, because the coaches that they've had and the players that they want. What's Johnny May effect is he going to have week in, week out on a Leicester team like that? He's a quality player, we know that. I mean, look at him for England.
And he's played well. He has played well for Leicester.
He's played brilliant, but that isn't what they need.
But you go back and think about it, and we had Ed Slater on here the other week. They swapped. They wanted Johnny May, and they gave away Ed Slater. And like you said, their issues are type 5. Ed Slater, hard as nails, Leicester through and through in terms of the type of second row that you want, the type of leader. And again, you go back to the decisions they've made when, obviously Cockers was head coach. They brought Aaron Major in to work alongside him. They openly said, those two, that they didn't see eye to eye on how they played the game or the game should be played. So I think it came to a stand of who do we go with. They went with Major. Then they didn't back Major properly, so they bring in Matt O'Connor, who they realised quickly wasn't the right guy either. He lost the changing room. And it's just bad decision after bad decision off the field. This rugby committee that's put together and the board and all this stuff, it's been, for want of a better, it's been a shit show at Leicester for a few years now in terms of off the field stuff. And that may sound harsh, but it's the truth.
If I was fantasy manager and you could do this, 2 players I'd get right now. Big Willie, Little Willie Skelton, I'd go all out to get him. And Mark Wilson, now that Newcastle are going to get relegated. They're 2 players that I'd go for straight away, all out. I don't know whether Big Willie, Little Willie Skelton's available. I'm not too sure. But you look at that team, what they could do with, that's what they could do with them too. Mark Wilson's dog that he's had for England, obviously not seeing as much of it for Newcastle. He's been injured a bit, but yeah.
With Leicester, I've heard you guys talk about these guys over and over again. Why do they keep investing so much in their backs and not enough or not anything in their forwards?
I think now what's happened is...
Because that's rugby 101. Like any basic rugby person knows that.
But why would you want to go to Leicester now? That's the thing. So if you're a type 5 forward and have aspirations to play for England, before, Leicester was a team. You start in that Leicester pack, you're guaranteed to be an international. Simple as that. When I was in there, and the minute I played for Leicester when I was younger, I got picked up to play for... Who's going to be laughing? I got picked up to play for Scotland.
Because I told you weren't good enough to play for England. But yeah, that's a different story.
But anyone who played in that pack went on to play for England. And I know this is like, we're almost talking, and it feels like 100 years ago. But that's what's happened over time. I don't know where... I know they've made a few signings for next year. Who have they made up front for next season?
Callum Green,
yeah. So we know about him. We spoke about him last week.
That's what they've announced.
So Plotter now has gone. He's going back to Oz.
I heard they're trying to get McGuigan back, but he's not a stereotypical Leicester hard forward.
Who is the player that's going to get them on the front foot? Sione Kalamafoni's back for them. Is he the guy?
Yeah, Jordan Taufua, the back rower, who I would have thought Andy Rowe might have jumped on the chance to talk about.
He's hardly got any game time for the Crusaders.
Oh, come on, mate. Why are you being on him? Mate, don't be. He ain't got here yet.
He's some ball carrier, mind.
Yeah, he can hit.
Never seen him.
Not a very good line-out option, though. He's a bit short. But he hasn't hardly played for the Crusaders this year. He's been on the bench the whole time.
I think he's been on the bench a lot because they know what the All Blacks and Southern Hemisphere teams do, Crusaders especially, once a player's signed somewhere else, unless he's a out-and-out first choice
no, you're right.
Black,
yeah.
They just bench them, don't they?
Yeah.
Jordan Taufua, he'll be good. But you talk about hard Leicester packs, and for Callum Sheedy waltzes through Guy Thompson, who's playing at open side flanker, for a try at the weekend, and he's like clutching with his hands. It's all very well, ball carrying a couple of weeks ago, but you just don't see an edge to Leicester at all. And for me, they've had lots of changes at the top in terms of a head coach, and those head coaches, I interviewed Simon Cohen for Patreon, our Patreon subscription service that will be released. So subscribe to patreon.com/therugbypod. He's talking on there about the fact that a recruitment pattern is relevant to your stability of your head coach and the stability of that head coach. Recruitment is a 3-4 year process to get the squad that you want there and be in charge of. You're inheriting what's there, and then you've got to try and find players that you want that are coming out of contract, a direction that you want to go in as a club in terms of how you attack, how you play, what you base your game on. And it's not a quick fix. And Jordan Murphy is head coach, director of rugby, whatever his job title is, under huge amounts of pressure because of the mistakes that have been made before by this rugby board, which, you've got people like Rory Underwood on, Ben Kay, the head coach, whoever it is, making these decisions, Jed Glynn, making these decisions that haven't been good enough.
On a more positive note, how good are Bristol, though?